Red Badge of Courage, Story 5. Sadness Along the Way. Henry fell back in the line until the battered man was out of sight. The young man marched among the wounded. He wished that he too could be a hero. The fighting had cost many men their lives, but Henry was fine. He wished that he had a wound. A battle wound would be a red badge of courage. Near Henry's side, a soldier walked slowly. The man stood very straight and moved as little as he could. It was certain that he was badly hurt. The other men stared at his gray, frightened face. They stopped often to speak with their fellow, but the men pushed away any helping hand. Something in the way the man moved made Henry stare at him. All of a sudden, the scene became clear. Henry yelled a scary yell. Then he put his shaking hand on the soldier's arm. As the man turned slowly to face him, Jim screamed, "Hud, Jim!" Coghlan, the tall soldier, made a polite little smile. "Hello, Henry," he said. Henry rocked on his legs and stared strangely. "Oh, Jim! Oh, Jim! Oh, Jim!" The tall soldier held out his bloody-covered hand. "Where have you been, Henry? I thought maybe you got killed. I was worried about it a lot." Henry still tripped on his words. "Oh, Henry! Oh, Jim! Oh, Jim! Oh, Jim! You know," said Jim, "I was out there." He lifted his hand carefully. "What a circus! And I got shot. I got shot." He repeated the words. If it didn't happen, didn't know how it happened. The friends marched on. Suddenly Jim pulled at Henry's arms. He spoke in a shaky whisper. "I'm so scared, Henry. I'm afraid I'll fall, and the wagon will run me over." Henry promised his friend that he would take good care of him. The young private guided Jim along the side of the road. They made their way through the ashes and other remains of war. Henry wondered what the president was going to do. He hoped there would be an end to the fighting. The battered man appeared once more. He told Henry to move Jim off the road. Horses and wagons would be coming through. Henry talked Jim into moving onto the grass. The young private watched as the wagons rolled by. Soon he was awakened by the loud cry. "He's running!" called a battered man. Jim was running into the field. Henry was certain that something was very wrong. The poor tall soldier just kept running and looking around. It seemed like he was looking for a place to lie down. Jim stopped suddenly. His body shook and he fell to the ground. Henry and the battered man ran over to the tall soldier, but they were too late. Jim was dead. Henry had lost a friend. Jim had done a lot for the regiment. The terrible fighting had cost him his life. He was a hero. Henry shook his tightly closed hand at the battlefield. He was filled with anger. The red sun was pasted in the sky. The battered soldier walked with Henry for a while. Soon he began to act strangely. Henry was afraid the wounded man was about to die. The young private felt sure that he could not bear another awful scene. The battered soldier questioned Henry again. He wanted to know where Henry had been hurt. The young private had to get away. He climbed a fence and left the battered soldier far behind. The wounded men called out after him. Henry moved through the forest of ashes and fallen trees. He was thinking all the while. He thought about what would happen if the army lost the war. He was certain he would certainly be cleared. People would understand what he had done. Even the president might believe Henry had a good reason for running. Henry would seem smart, not scared. The young private did not like himself. He was sure he would never be a hero. Still, he stayed close to the fighting. Henry knew that the army would not lose the war. He wished he were dead. One thing was certain. Henry had to make up a story. He knew that his regiment would want to know where he had been.